dumps, big massive dumps.
This is an island surrounded by water, big water, ocean water. Trust me, I'm like a smart person. I'm very consistent. I'm a very stable genius. I had the best words. Tolerated. I know words. Mike Pounds. I hope they now go and take a look at the oranges of the investigation. But there's no better word than stupid. Anonymous, really anonymous. I'm very highly educated. One of the wettest we've ever seen from the standpoint of water. Had the best words. God bless the United States.
There's insanity in the control room. Who's got a hammer?
Around the nation, Waldorf Nation. Hey, everybody, welcome to the show. Good afternoon, early evening, or, well, you know, wherever you're at. Hello. Welcome to the show. We got a good one here today. We're just going to have a little bit of fun. We've got some fun stories for y'all today. We also have, of course, as usual, disaster, but also good stuff. Yeah, we have a good story. Weird. I know that doesn't happen very often. All right. So anyway, thank you all for joining me. Please like and share the stream if you haven't already. In fact, I forgot to share the stream, so I should probably do that. So let's do that. Hold. Let's do this. And parlay. Okay. Yeah. All right. So anyway, we're going to talk about Donald Trump and his blog. How's it doing? How's it going? And of course, the overall topic of deplatforming. Does deplatforming work? Interesting. Then more stuff. We got Fox News. We got a Fox News guest talking about women. In the workplace. I don't know if you have to guess how that's gonna go. We have again a former Students for Trump person that has been sentenced finally for fraud, and then we get the Foxitis guy, all that fun stuff. So, you know, we're gonna have a fun show. It's gonna be interesting. Stick around for the next hour. Like and share. Let's do it. All right. Welcome to 2005, everybody. Back. All right. Former President Donald Trump he's having some issues reaching out to his followers, his supporters, his friends. I'm kidding about that last part. He doesn't really have any friends. He's not the kind of guy that makes friends. It's either you're going to use, he's going to use them, or they're going to try to use him. But anyway, apparently he's just not getting the buzz on the internet that he used to. You know, y'all remember the days when he used to light up the web with a string of weirdly capitalized tweets with insults and straight up lies. Ah, yes. I remember. Pepperidge Farm remembers. And then what happened? He got deplatformed. which led to much wailing and gnashing of teeth from conservatives. But we all know, of course, that Trump wouldn't stay silent for long. Apparently, he tried numerous times to get back on Twitter, to go around the Twitter ban to no avail. In fact, there were several accounts. One was DJT Desk, and they're all variations, by the way, spelling of DJT Desk. So you got a capital here and you got a lowercase over here. They keep getting banned because it was speculated that the account was connected to the former president, as it was created by his staff in order to give him an access for updates in relation to his new website from the desk of Donald Trump. Per May 5th, the account was removed from the platform, with Twitter saying, Twitter suspend accounts which violate the Twitter rules. Spokesperson for Twitter said in a statement, as stated in our ban evasion policy, we'll take enforcement action on accounts whose apparent intent is to replace or promote content affiliated with the suspended account. Fun. Yes. In addition to DJT Desk, Twitter also suspended, again, the different variations of the spelling, DJ Trump Desk, which, you know, yeah, at DJ Trump Desk. Get on that. Make some maybe some trap music or something like that. House music. I don't know. What's cool today? I don't even know. So, also, Desk of DJT banned. Desk of Trump 1 also banned. DJT Tiny Desk. That's a good one. Y'all love that. That's fantastic. So yeah, it's pretty obvious. It's going well. Going very well. Now, in the absence of being kicked off Facebook and Twitter, Trump had promised, in the aftermath of getting kicked off Twitter and Facebook, Trump had promised a new social media website, which apparently is supposed to be tremendous, it's supposed to be great, the best social media website ever. It's going to be the best. Wow, what an amazing, beautiful, tremendous website. It's going to be great. Okay, but he does have a website, and what happened? Well, it's basically just a blog. That's it. He just posts stuff with no real option to respond or like or share or do anything like that. And so it's pretty limited. In fact, BuzzSumo, it's a social media analytics company, and they took a look at the numbers. And they said the desk of Donald J. Trump is limited. Users can't comment or engage with the actual posts beyond sharing them to other platforms, which is the whole point, really, to get across over that Twitter ban. And it's an action, of course, few people do with the sharing, according to data. So basically, again, he went back to 2005, created the blog. And that's it. And in addition to, of course, blogging, he also decides to push crappy merch on his fans, which is fine. I mean, if they want to buy his merch, that's totally cool. Whatever. But anyway, congratulations, Mr. President. You have arrived in 2005. I mean, at least it's not GeoCities. It might be a WordPress, which is fine, but at least it's not GeoCities or an Angel Fire page. I'm really dating myself here. You know? That said, how's it doing? Is it doing good? Not really. Data analysis conducted by NBC News show that Trump's new blog failed to generate significant traffic. Yikes. The ex-president's blog, according to BuzzSumo, has drawn a considerably smaller audience than his once powerful social media accounts, according to engagement data compiled with BuzzSumo. Likely because, again, there's no way to actually do the things that you want to do. Comment, like, share, or, well, you can share, but or anything like that, and only focused on, like, the only posts that he's really talking about is, oh, I can't believe the election was stolen from me. It was stolen. Bigly election fraud everywhere. Well, okay. And then occasionally he'll take shots at junky Kentucky Derby horses that failed drug tests. Well, you can see why that would be a massive failure. Now, if there's any lesson that we can take from this, is this. Deplatforming works. Trump blog's low engagement numbers suggest that the practice of deplatforming, or cutting off a user from their followers and therefore severing networks of common followers, is broadly effective and can be used to reduce hate speech and glorification of violence from mainstream platforms, notes NBC News. Now, I'm not saying that deplatforming solves all the problems. No, it actually gets kind of complicated. You start to have issues with, gatekeeping, who gets left out of the conversation, who gets in the conversation. Not only that, but you end up driving some of these things underground where they still fester, and where it really might be more difficult to challenge those ideas. But there are upsides to it as well. For the record, I don't support the blanket deplatforming of people, who have different political ideologies. For example, I disagree with conservatives. Would I like to see all conservatives deplatformed? No, of course not. I would like to see their ideas challenged and beaten, because I believe we have the better ideas. I believe progressive ideas are just simply better than conservative ideas. And when you actually have real debates on these issues with factual information, those ideas from conservatives, they just don't hold up. Now, that said, I do think it's okay to deplatform people for hate speech, inciting violence, doxing other people, things like that. It's really, it's not a First Amendment issue either, being deplatformed. Although, again, there are some possible downsides when you talk about gatekeeping and certain information, certain people. And look, there is, again, a dark side as well. For example, I'm in indie media, you know this, and I know a lot of people in indie media who have had run-ins with some of these policies. Now, again, they're not outright banned, obviously, but there are certain platforms, for example, like YouTube, that have elevated what they consider to be authoritative sources, which are basically legacy media, your CNNs, your MSNBCs, over everything else. And even your Fox Newses, by the way, which Fox News is one of the leading drivers of disinformation. And yet they are considered to be an authoritative source over someone like me, for example, who challenges those ideas in Fox News. And so that's a problem, okay? And as a result of being a non-authoritative source, well, that leads to reduced traffic, reduced revenue. It leads to videos being taken down more often that simply document what the right wing is doing. A good couple of examples here is Status Coup, run by Jordan Sheridan. This is somebody who goes around and he talks to right wingers, interviews them, pushes back on them. There's plenty of video documentation of him doing that, and yet he has had videos that were removed for supposedly breaking TOS by just interviewing these people and even pushing back, which that's not right. You shouldn't be removing those. Another victim of this has been the Surfs TV, friend of the show. They've had some of their videos, documentary type of videos, once again showcasing the things that the right-wingers believe. And those videos were removed because they allegedly didn't challenge those ideas enough. But that is incredibly subjective. And so, you have these channels that are getting videos removed even when they challenge the ideas of the far right. And so there's some serious issues with enforcement. There's some serious issues with the algorithms, clarity of the rules, and things like that. And what can be considered, pushing back on some of these bad actors and these terrible ideas. That said, right, the results of deplatforming do kind of speak for themselves. And so understand that this is a very nuanced position. This is a very nuanced conversation in talking about the context of independent media versus mainstream media. And so nonetheless, we're not quite talking about that because, again, I think the ban for Donald Trump was justified as a result of pushing all of this disinformation that has gotten people not only hurt, but has also gotten people killed as a result of pushing, for example, disinformation on coronavirus. And so there's a lot of that. In fact, removing Trump has had an increasingly good effect on the online discourse. According to research from Signal Labs, after the ban, online misinformation about election fraud itself plunged 73%. It went from, and this is, again, a week after the ban, the San Francisco-based analytics firm reported that conversations about election fraud dropped from 2.5 million mentions to 688,000 mentions across several social media sites in the week after Trump was banned from Twitter. So that said, deplatforming fascists definitely works. But as with anything, we really have to be careful and only going after those who deserve to be deplatformed and making sure to protect discourse in this country, even from those who have opposing views. So, yeah. Some of you are talking about GeoCities and Angel Fire. I remember the days. I remember because I've used them. It was me. All right. Anyway, let's dive in. We got more stories. Not a surprise to learn that former President Donald Trump is a bit of a fatphobe. He's not a fan of plus-sized Americans, which is a slightly ironic position, because according to a new book by Pulitzer Prize-winning Washington Post reporter Carol Leonnig, Trump tried to have Secret Service agents fired if he considered them to be too short, too fat. Fascinating. Really. All right. So now The Guardian, which has obtained a copy of Leonig's book, reports that the former president regularly criticized certain Secret Service agents for not meeting his standards of physical fitness that he believed were required for the job. He said this, quote, according to Leonig's sources, "I want these fat guys off my detail. How are they going to protect me and my family if they can't run down the street?" Dude, it doesn't seem to me like you can run down the street. I'm not trying to fat shame or anything like that, but the guy needs to look in a mirror before he goes after other people's weight. I'm just saying. To be fair, okay? So now this guy is not a person who exercises, okay? He doesn't exercise. He eats fast food all day. Totally his choices, right? But again, you can't just go and then criticize other people. All right. It just feels like he doesn't have a lot of room to judge other people for their physical fitness. You know what I'm saying? It's like me trying to judge him on his physical fitness. Ain't gonna fly. Make me a bit of a hypocrite, right? Of course, apparently he doesn't seem to care about hypocrisy. And it really does kind of make me think, back to how Donald Trump has viewed exercise before in the past. There are quotes of him where he was talking about how he believed that people were born with a certain amount of like a battery, right? Like an internal battery. And that if you exercise, that will deplete your battery. And so you will end up dying sooner somehow. It's complete and utter pseudoscientific nonsense. It's not even pseudoscientific. It's just nonsense. Total nonsense. And now Trump, again, is very close, according to physicals, as being categorized as obese. And Donald Trump had the most important job in the country. Well, I mean, all things fair, right? Shouldn't then someone have criticized him like, hey, Donald Trump, you're president of the United States. We need you around. you better put down that cheeseburger. I'm just saying, you could have a heart attack in the job. Look, Nancy Pelosi got criticized for calling him morbidly obese. I'm just saying. And again, it's one of those things where you really shouldn't throw stones if you live in a glass house. Pot calling the kettle black here, y'all. So I mean, what happened to judge not lest ye be judged, right? Oh, of course, he's not like an actual Christian. So, like, his followers believe that he is somehow. They probably, by the way, agree with him on the fat shaming. A lot of his followers do. But what's really ridiculous, too, is, other than the fat thing, is going after people who are too short. What? What's the issue with short people? What are you doing? The guy is vain. He's so incredibly vain, ludicrously vain, and only cares about optics. And that's really it. And that's what it comes down to. That's the real reason. He thinks that larger and shorter Secret Service agents make him look bad, when in reality, he's always only made himself look bad because he's a terrible person. Jeez. All right. Yeah, I guess it might be projection. Just the hatred. Did we get a raid? I didn't see it pop up. Unless it's on YouTube, which would be great. But yeah, I don't see a raid on Okay. Nope. Well, if there are people here from No Miki Show, I thank you for sticking around. All right. So let's move on from Trump stuff and let's go to some other stuff. Let's go to Fox News. A Fox News segment went kind of sexist during a discussion of President Biden's plan to expand childcare. Take a look.
But critics argue the plan would cause costs to explode with very little benefit. While our next guest says it wages a culture war against normal people. Here to explain, venture capitalist and best-selling author of Hillbilly Elegy, J.D. Vance. J.D., good morning to you.
Good morning.
What do you mean class warfare against normal people?
Well, what I mean, Steve, is that a pretty consistent finding is that most people, when they have young kids, they want to be able to spend more time at home with their children, not be forced into the workforce. And if you compare that to the words of Biden advisor Susan Rice, who says this plan is meant to get as many parents, especially mothers, into the workforce, I stop and say, well, why do we want that? If more parents want to spend more time at home with their kids, why don't we make that the goal of public policy rather than shifting a ton of people into a massive federally mandated daycare system?
Right.
And importantly, that federal daycare system is going to be really low quality. So it's going to be bad for the parents, but it's also going to be bad for the kids who are forced into it.
Sure. And rather than being operated by the private sector, which, would be responsible to providing something great, it would be nationalized. It would be enforced by federal rules. And undoubtedly, JD, it would be unionized.
Oh, no. Oh, God. No, not unionized. Oh, no. Okay. So let's get the lies out of the way. Let's unpack some of this stuff. Okay. For one, Biden isn't nationalizing childcare. That's not happening. No, nobody's forcing anybody into daycare. Okay. No, he's not even he's not creating government childcare facilities. This is not true at all. So no, what Biden is doing, and by the way, this is a constant theme from Fox News, trying to make Biden out to be cooler than what he actually is. Look, what the plan does is that it essentially gives out subsidies and tax credits to families so that they could use that to afford private childcare. That's what it is. Now, there's also, of course, funding for universal preschool for 3 and 4 year olds. They're also going to incentivize employers to build child care centers in their workplace. So not only can you go to work, you can bring your child to work, apparently. So, yeah, there's that. Under Biden plan, parents would also be able to go to a federal website to search for participating child care centers in the area that would take these tax breaks, or I'm sorry, these federal subsidies. Once approved, the state would notify families of the amount that they're going to pay and reimburse child care centers on the back end. It actually makes it more efficient to be able to find child care. So that's good. Biden says that this would save families thousands of dollars and, more importantly, give them peace of mind because they know their kids are being taken care of. Now, the point of this plan is to make it so that families can actually have child care. So if they want to work, they can go and work. And the reason that a lot of families can't, or they don't have choice, is that childcare is right now way too expensive. In fact, parents regularly pay over $11,000 a year to send their infant to childcare centers, $10,000 for toddlers, and over $9,000 for 4-year-olds, according to a Childcare Aware of America's 2019 report. That prevents, of course, parents from being able to work. I mean, if you can't afford childcare, well, then somebody's got to stay home. Now, that's actually one reason a lot of younger people are not having children, along with student loan debt, lack of home ownership, low wages. Kids are hugely expensive. On average, you're going to spend about $230,000 over 18 years of a kid's life to raise a child. And here's the thing. A lot of parents do want to work, but they can't because they can't afford childcare. And so, I mean, that's a problem. Not only that, but a lot of parents right now can't go back to work as a result of COVID-19 because schools, of course, are not open. They're being let out for summer break if they had been open. And of course, there is no affordable childcare option. And you've got all these employers that are like, oh my God, I can't. Why are people not coming back to work? I don't understand. They're not coming back to work. Well, who's going to watch my kids? If I can't send them to school and can't afford childcare, what am I going to do? What am I supposed to do? Yeah. So there's a lot of issues. Okay. So now I want to go to the next video here because it tends to get a little bit worse as this guy is, I guess, pretending to be some sort of populist and saying some things that are right, but offering absolutely no real solutions. Take a look.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Steve. And if we've learned one thing over the past year, it's that maybe the unions have too much power over our kids. Maybe these government unions have too much power, and we should be taking away their power, not giving them more power. But I consistently come back to this idea that it's a normal thing. You see it if you talk to people, you see it in the polling data, to want to spend more time with your children when they're young. Why don't we have public policy make that easier? Give parents more choice, more options. Now, if they want to use those resources to send their kids to daycare, that's fine. But if they want to use those resources to withdraw from the labor force for a couple of years while their kids are young, we should be encouraging that because it's good for the children. And it's just a really weird thing that so many of our ruling class are focused on forcing parents into the workforce away from their kids as opposed to giving those parents more choice.
I love how he opens up with, it's the government unions. We should reduce the power of working people. What do you think unions are? Unions are working people that have banded together to demand things like childcare, higher wages, more benefits, health care. Yeah, okay. No, ridiculous. This guy's considered a right-wing populist? Is that who this guy is? So now, he does say that most people do want to spend time with their kids, especially if they're little. Totally true. Yeah, of course. The problem is they can't. They can't. They can't afford to. There's no paid federal family leave. There's no mandatory family paid leave. Okay? That's what progressives are trying to fix. That's what we want to fix. Not only that, but here's the irony, right? The contradiction. Conservatives right now are stripping out unemployment benefits and trying to push people back into the workforce without doing anything about childcare, without wage increases, without increased benefits. And then again, they're whining, why can't we find people to come back to work? I don't understand. And then this guy comes around and he says, I can't believe the libs want to send people back to work. What elitists? Well, now, how come? Wait, how could you say that? How you can't have it both ways, okay? That is a contradiction. Now, here's the thing. I agree that if you want to be able to spend time with your kids, if you want to stay home, you should be able to. And you should have a living wage so that you can afford to do that. That's why I support the living wage, okay? So that parents can afford to make choices. Medicare for all, so that if a parent decides they want to stay home, well, since their insurance will not be tied to their job, they can afford to stay home and have health care. Yes, I know. And for those who do make a choice to work, because not everybody wants to stay home. Not every woman wants to have children or stay home and raise children. Some women do want to have children and also have their careers. We should be able to allow everyone to be able to have their own choice. But it seems like what a lot of these conservatives want is their cake and eat it too. And by the way, to have their, women stay home barefoot and pregnant. And it's essentially all they want to do. And so it seems pretty ridiculous that on the one hand, you're saying, oh, we want women to stay home and raise the kids and pro-family. But then you back absolutely no pro-family legislation, keeping wages low, keeping healthcare tied to the jobs, making sure that student loan debt is crushing anybody's ability to be able to start a family, buy a home. Ridiculous. This guy, come on. And by the way, it ain't the left who was so focused on market success. No, that's you, dude. That's you. That's the Republican Party, who right now stands in the way of anything that actually helps the working class. Again, whether it be wages, the elimination of student debt, which keeps, again, many younger millennials from having kids in the first place. In fact, finances are one of the top reasons why American millennials are not having children or are having fewer kids than they would actually like. Again, this is for people who actually want to start families. And there are people that want to start families. There are people that don't want to start families. And again, it's 100% your choice, your body. You can do whatever the hell you want. What I want to do is make it so that we have a country that is actually pro-family, that actually has policies to encourage people who actually want to have families to be able to actually do it. That's not conservative America, okay? So now, let me give you some data here. This is according to Business Insider Shanna Leibowitz, who cited a survey by the New York Times. Survey polled 1,858 men and women ages 20 to 45. 64% said childcare is too expensive. 44% they can't afford to have more children. 43% said they waited to have kids because of financial instability. So the problem here is money and people not having enough of it, which is why right now the situation is two parents have to work in order to make ends meet, which means they either need childcare or higher wages, or both, really. We should have both. And the Republican Party is against both. That's what normal people are going through. You don't speak for normal people, dude. You're a fake populist. You're a fraud. You're not a regular person. You're an out-of-touch venture capitalist. You're as elite as they come. Fuck off. You want to help families. Pay them more. And stop lying. And take a quick break. We're going to come back. We got Students for Trump And we've got the Foxitis guy. Ah, yes, being interviewed. Fun times. Stay right here, Round Nation.
There's insanity in the control room. Who's got a hammer?
Tighten up my meat. I like my meat tight.
Mike Pounds.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the show. Around the Nation right here, Waldorf Nation. Jeff Waldorf here with you. So let me go here to see if there are any super chats. Oh, shoot. Let me find them here because I know there are some somewhere. I mean, there has to be. I can't go a whole show without anybody giving me any super chats. I mean, that'd be terrible, wouldn't it? Okay. Anyway, let me check here and then read people off. No, none today. Sad. All right, anyway. Let's go over here to Twitch. And I just want to thank Tiffany Star. Hey, everybody, check out Tiffany Star, XXX Tiffany underscore star, XXX. Only if you're an adult, though. 18 or over, please. Check her out, though. She's based, incredibly based, does a lot of political and gaming content as well. So check her out. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. All right. So let's see. Got a lot of fun comments here. Ravaging Wolverine. Funny how the horse trainer from yesterday went from cancel culture to we totally use band ointment right up until race day. That didn't take long. Yeah, cancel culture. But it was totally cancel culture, right? Yes. Of course. The 50s family was killed by the sitcom. Or like by, terrible wages. One of those things. Oh, wow. Thank you, Rylan N. I do appreciate that. Rialan? Yes, Rialan N. Thank you so much for that very kind donation. Let's see. Can we start with the police unions? Yeah. That's so ironically the one union that conservatives protect. If it's one type of union that has too much power, it's police union. True, very true. Let's see. and you're made to feel guilty if you can't afford it, end up staying home with your kids. You're damned if you do, damned if you don't. The country is a joke. Also true. Also very, very true. Yeah, I'm only 5'9". You realize that, right? I'm 5'9", like 250 pounds. I'm short and fat. So who anybody, out of anybody is qualified to criticize Donald Trump for being fat? It's me. It's me, because I'm fat too. All right. Anyway, moving on. Let's go to the fun news, the good news for the day. It does not show up. It's because I wear all black. All right. We now have a new entry into the Hall of F Around and Find Out. It appears the founder of Students for Trump, a 25-year-old going by the name of John Lambert, has been sentenced for 13 months in prison for being a scam artist. Now, the reason I say John Lambert is because he also went by another name, Eric Pope. You might be familiar. Now, before being sentenced, District Judge Valerie Caproni denounced him as a, quote, cold-blooded fraudster. Now, for those of you who might need a refresher on who this person is, Lambert was basically somebody who was cosplaying a lawyer with no experience. He ended up targeting individuals with little experience seeking legal advice, which netted him about $46,654, while, of course, obviously doing nothing for them in return. There's supposed clients. I mean, what could you do? Guy's not a lawyer, not in real life. He's got no experience, no training, no background in law or anything. He's a fake. He's a fraud. A phony. Not a real lawyer. And so, of course, in order to trick his marks, the 25-year-old Lambert posed as somebody named Eric Pope of the Manhattan-based firm Pope & Dunn, and falsely claimed to be a graduate of the New York University School of Law, with a finance degree from the University of Pennsylvania, with 15 years of experience in corporate and patent law. So he's basically just as good as Trump's lawyers. True, but he didn't butt dial anybody or fart in the courtroom. He and the classmate, Ryan Fognier, founded Students for Trump, which ran a Twitter account apparently featuring photos of bikini-clad women and showed themselves at political events while students in 2015 at Campbell University in North Carolina. Fournier, for his part, was listed as a co-conspirator in the fraud suit, but had flipped on him and reached a cooperation agreement with prosecutors. So immediately flipped. Oh, yeah, no, feds, cooperation. Let's do it. Because, of course, this guy, born fraudster, bilking people out of cash, delivering nothing in return. Ironically, just like his hero, Donald Trump. Again, one of the founders of Students for Trump. Love this guy. Wow. However, unlike Donald Trump, he actually gets held accountable for his actions. He was, wasn't born with money. And so he was never going to get far, unlike rich people in our system who are pretty much able to, they're able to get away with basically anything, scamming regular people, especially. One victim, for example, expected help with a credit problem. Well, that person was screwed over, obviously, with Judge Caproni saying, quote, Mr. Lambert took his money, did nothing. Mr. Lambert did not even have the common decency to make up an excuse and tell the victim to go and hire a different attorney. Or hell, he could have even hired an attorney himself with some of the money that he was getting paid. It still would have been illegal, but, he could have at least done that and got some legal advice on this to them, at least try to help this person. But no, I mean, obviously, you should have been like, I'm a fraud, I'm a fake. Here's all your money back. Go and hire a real lawyer. That's what should have happened. And so the guy's total trash, garbage. As for Lambert, here's what he said to the judge. Quote, I lost focus on who I was. My ignorance was a disrespect to the law and my country. My life will be forever marked by this poor choice at a young age. I don't believe him. Of course I don't believe him. Why would I? I think, look, 13 months. So it's just over a year for fraud. I don't know, what the normal sentence is for, fraud cases like this. But think about it this way. You get somebody like this, obviously white, conservative, and, he goes to jail for just over a year, probably gets let out early for, good behavior, something like that. Compare that to a black kid who gets busted with drugs. And then you got those mandatory minimums that kick in. Yeah, of course. And so you end up having people who, do nonviolent crime that doesn't actually hurt anybody else, possession of a plant or possession of drugs that go to prison for far longer than somebody like this, who actually did do material harm to other people in the form of screwing them over out of their money. So, yeah, in jail for life. There are absolutely those who are. And this is while, by the way, marijuana is being legalized across the country. So, yeah. I mean, yes, he's going to go to prison. You can only hope that if he does, he learns this lesson, maybe comes out a better person. I doubt that's going to happen, given how our prison system actually works. It's more about punishment than rehabilitation. Odds are that he'll either come out the same or he'll come out worse. He'll still probably be a conservative Trump supporter. He might find Jesus in prison, and maybe will likely be accepted back in that group. It happened with Dinesh D'Souza, who, was immediately accepted back in conservatism. It's not like we haven't seen that one play out before. We absolutely have. And so, yeah, I don't have a lot of faith that this is really going to do anything other than, a little bit of a setback, and then it's back to screwing people over. Yeah, we'll have to see. And to be fair, I'm a fan of rehabilitative justice. I just don't really see that playing out in this case. You can't teach people empathy, my friend. You can't teach people empathy. You can't teach people to be better people. If they're shitty people, odds are they're going to stay shitty unless they themselves make the decision to become better people. So, okay. Anyway. Well, let's move on. We got one more story for y'all. Speaking of people, getting better? Maybe. All right. One of the Capitol rioters, known as a man who has developed a case of Foxitis on January 6th, went on CNN and talked to Chris Cuomo and said that he had believed that one of the reasons that he went to the Capitol was, again, because he had watched nothing but Fox News and believed that America was being robbed of a president when he had participated in the insurrection. Now, the man is named Anthony Antonio, and he was charged with 5 federal crimes related to being in the Capitol riot. And he told Cuomo on primetime that he got wrapped up in what was being told to him and what was on TV, specifically Fox News, and as a result, truly believed that Trump had won the election. In fact, here's some of that interview. Take a look.
What were you hearing and seeing be reinforced that made you so
revved up?
I would basically say, I really got into it when the election started. When election night happened and everything was going on, I truly believed that Trump won the election. As of right now, I acknowledge and I know that Joe Biden is our president. That's not a mystery. That's a fact. But I felt like, maybe I believed that America was being robbed of a president, and I now know that was a lie.
All right, so now the charges against Antonio included violent entry, disorderly conduct in Capitol grounds, destruction of property. So, you get the whole smashing things and smashing windows and breaking furniture and things like that. So now, Foxitis, right? Sounds kind of funny when you think about it, right? But there's actually a little bit of truth to that in the power of propaganda. Not that it should have absolved this guy of any of the consequences for anything he did, obviously. But Antonio has been alleged to have shouted threatening statements at police. I actually don't think that's a big problem. Poured water on an officer being dragged down the Capitol steps. I get, what was he trying to waterboard him or something? I don't know. Then he had stole a riot shield and a gas mask. Entered the Capitol through shattered windows, tossed broken furniture around, and so all of that. This is according to court filings. Now, his entry into the pipeline was actually kind of interesting. And so, we talk about the alt-right pipeline, how people get sucked into, conservative, especially conservative ideologies online, right? And so that didn't happen because he wasn't watching the internet. He wasn't watching YouTube videos, but he was watching a steady diet of Fox News. In fact, his lawyer said that Antonio had lost his job at the beginning of the pandemic, and for the next 6 months, religiously watched Fox News. Quote, he believed what was being fed to him. Well, yeah, of course they believe it. Uncritically, by the way. And that's, of course, a problem with people not being critical of what they see of the media that they consume. Now, y'all know not to just believe me. Y'all know to, go and look. Nobody's corrected me more in my entire lifetime than both my YouTube and my Twitch audience. Honestly, if I get something wrong, y'all know it, and y'all tell me, okay? And that's good. Because I believe that's holding me accountable. And I appreciate that. I appreciate being held accountable. I want to be as correct as much as I can. I want to be factually correct. And so, unfortunately, with Fox News, they don't have that. And they have, by the way, along with not having that, they also don't want to have that. Their entire business model is all about making sure to spread lies and disinformation, and that's the point. That's the point. And so I showed you yesterday. There was a couple of Trump supporters that were being interviewed by CNN as well, and they've still believed in the big lie. And what did they say? I saw it on TV. That was their answer. And so that's the problem. You have these outlets. You have people. Fox News and all of these cable TV outlets that are spreading disinformation to millions of people. Fox News is dangerous. And you wonder why I cover it all the time, since I'm an internet guy. Again, the reason that I cover it is because Fox News reaches millions and millions of people. They're considered to be an authoritative source on YouTube, being spread all over Facebook, and the stuff that they say is just not true. This is not true at all. All right, it's fake. It's false. It's literal fake news. They will lie about things to your face. And one of the last segments that I talked about, this is an example, talked about Biden's child care plan. Biden's child care plan, nationalization. That's what they're saying about it. Oh, we're going to nationalize child care and force all the children into government-run union, child care centers. Not true at all. No truth into that whatsoever. Absolutely ridiculous. And then, of course, you go anywhere on the internet and you see oh my God, but the jobs report, great example of that as well. Disappointing jobs report. Understandable, but we're still coming out of a pandemic here, and people are still worried and concerned about vaccines, or not about the vaccines themselves, but about the coronavirus, and they haven't gotten their vaccines yet, and they're worried that not enough people have gotten their vaccines yet, and people are still out there, not wearing masks and doing things like that, and still you got conservatives online that are like, it's because Biden's raised taxes. Biden hasn't raised any taxes. Yes, does he want to? Does he have a plan to raise taxes on corporations? Yeah, but that hasn't passed through Congress. And they're like, Biden killed jobs because he's already raised taxes. When? Again, it's the disinformation that comes out of Fox News. And so they will spread just sometimes the most innocuous lies, as well as bigger lies as well. And then, of course, you've got, along with that, Newsmax, OAN, and other, other channels. Newsmax, for example, just apologized for misleading viewers on the election because they were forced to by Dominion voting system in one of their billion-dollar lawsuits. They settled that. But you've got so many outlets, both large and small, still spreading lies, and Dominion can't sue them all. There's a serious issue with the far-right pipeline, especially on YouTube, driven by algorithms that take you to more and more extreme right-wing content. Fox News is also on YouTube. Fox News also part of that pipeline. Honestly, I'm not entirely sure how do you fix that. How do you enforce people telling the truth? Right? This is some uncharted territory that we have today online. And so, I don't know. It is clear, though, that as a result of this pipeline, you've got a right wing that is more radicalized than ever, and that is dangerous. And they, a lot of them could end up becoming violent, like what we saw on January 6th. Now, there's one more clip here. I want to show you that.
Did you not read or see anything else except what was on Fox and Newsmax and that whole ilk of right-wing propaganda?
I can't recall everything that I saw. I will be honest. We're now, how many months from it? This is my first time on live TV too. So it's one of those things where it's like I can't recall every single thing that I saw, that I heard, and everything like that. I can just say, I believed what was being told to me.
Do you blame Fox?
Chris, may I say something?
Yeah, hold on one second, Counselor. Do you blame Fox? Do you blame former President Trump? Who do you blame?
I blame myself. I take full accountability for my actions. And because of that, I have gone to God and asked for forgiveness. I've prayed, God, please forgive me. I take full responsibility for my actions. This isn't a cop-out, right? God tells us to come to him and beg for forgiveness. And that's what I've done. And that's what I asked for America. I asked for America to please forgive me. I shouldn't have been there that day. I shouldn't have been involved on those Capitol steps.
Now, he further added, as far as when there was a Capitol DC officer that was being attacked. This was DC Metropolitan Police Officer Michael Fanone. He had witnessed that assault. Antonio said he had locked eyes with him, who pleaded with him for help, and that he had seen death in his eyes. Quote, I didn't help him when I should have. He said he would not be able to get the image of him out of his head. And I hope he doesn't. I hope that sticks with him. What he was allowing to happen to another human being. And he just, look, if this guy is serious about taking responsibility, and it's not just, garbage to get him out of, facing some sort of obvious, accountability for his actions for actually being there. If he's actually serious, well, then he needs to take steps to show that he's serious and take responsibility for what he was involved in. If he gets done, when he gets done with whatever sentence he's given, if he's given any, then he should try to get people out of the pipeline. Simple as that. Now, that doesn't mean not being a conservative. You can still have conservative views. But if you're in that far-right pipeline, you're pretty far gone. You're not really a conservative anymore. You become a full-on fash. That's not where you want to go. And so I think if he's serious, then he should try to get people out of that pipeline and really own up to what he's done by stopping people from entering. Now we'll see if he's really sorry based on his actions and what he does, not his words, because actions do speak much, much louder than words. All right. There does need to, yes, of course there needs to be accountability. Yeah, of course. Agreed. Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. LL says, intellectual laziness. These people put no effort in fact-checking multiple sources. And they should. They should absolutely do that. They should fact-check. They should do multiple sources. He's pandering to the camera. I don't know if we know that. I guess we'll find out. We'll find out. Again, actions speak much, much louder than words. Christians get higher in prayer in a glass of water. I don't know about that. I don't know. I'm not one, so I wouldn't actually know. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have today. Thank you for going around the nation with me today. Coffee is not overrated. You take that back. Thank you. That's how I start my day. Let's see. Only true Scotsmen are actual Christians. True. All right. So, like I said, please like and share. Appreciate your viewership, as always. Thank you so much for the super chats, for your support. Please, again, like and share. Question, if something's super obscure and not getting much coverage, start to fact check, what then? And that's a really good question. So obviously, if you're going to cover it, if you're going to talk about it, then there's some definite qualifiers. Then you're going to have to, for example, something like, for somebody like myself, be like, well, this is conjecture. This is what we know of the situation. We don't know a lot of the details yet. And so stay tuned. The facts can change, but this is what I see from this situation right now. And so that's how I would cover that, to make sure that, hey, look, if we get things wrong, well, then, here's the actual facts, and here's what we knew then versus what we know now. So there you go. Be skeptical, though, of everything you see and read. Even I get it wrong. So just be careful. Always double check, triple check your sources and your sourcing, and have an open mind. all I got to say. Love you all. Thank you. And we'll see you all tomorrow around the nation. And remember, change begins with you.
Give me a break. Dumps. Big, massive dumps.
Mike Pounds.
Please clap.
I'm sick of all these witches and warlocks.
They're kicking me out the door. They're kicking me out the door.